Oh, no, he didn't.
Girl, yes, he did.
And welcome back, Honeymoon Pies. I am so excited for this week's episode because it is a topic near and dear to my heart, as all the topics are near and dear to my heart. It's amazing how many topics are near and dear to my heart. But you, as our listeners, as our viewers, y'all are so near and dear to our hearts. So thank you.
Appreciate you.
Good looking out. Listen. We don't want y'all to be gatekeepers, and we don't think y'all just keeping us to yourselves, but share the love and tell a friend. You know, I'm just saying, we appreciate y'all, but bring your friends. Make sure you follow us on YouTube. You can also watch this episode on our YouTube channel. Make sure you have subscribed wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, so you always know when we have uploaded a new episode. So this week's episode is about something that I'm doing right now, but it's also something a lot of women have been saying lately. And it's just, I'm not going to date for a while. And it's interesting because I remember specifically a few years ago, we have a mutual who said they were done dating. And I thought, man, that is just so sad and depressing. And she's giving up and don't stop trying. And now that I'm there, it's like this place where you do feel like at some point, you do feel like, you know what I'm doing isn't working, or who I'm dating isn't dateable, or whatever it is, that at some point you do need to just pause. Pause for the cause.
Right.
You've taken some breaks before. What usually inspired your breaks, or how did those breaks go for you?
It's usually I'm at a place where I'm over it, and it comes after, mine probably comes after one situation doesn't work out. I don't, it doesn't take me long to say, hey, I don't want to do this no more. But yeah, I think it comes from a place of frustration, because whenever I find myself happier alone than dealing with the drama of dating someone, I'm gonna always choose happier.
Always. It's not even a question.
And we've said this on this podcast a lot, where we have created lives for ourselves. I mean, we're not, the richest people in the world or nothing like that, but we are probably among the happiest. I will put us up there.
We have mastered self-care almost to a decade.
Right. And so we have put ourselves in that position. But I think even still, some of these men are so ridiculous, the ones I've dealt with in the past, that, I understand when people say, you know what, I'm taking a break. I'm done. I cannot keep going down this road again. It's mentally taxing.
It's very taxing. And that's one of our earlier episodes was about dating trauma. That sometimes is what will push you into a hiatus. It's like you didn't got your heart broken, or your feelings hurt, or frustrated, or whatever. But then sometimes, it's good to just pause in general. I know that I'm a person that when I am dating somebody, I tend to lose the focus and energy for myself and my own exploits. And that's a me thing. That's the thing that I have to work on, but I know why I do it. And now I have to figure out how to not do it. Now, I won't be able to learn that until there's a person there again. And then I'll be in a real-time action situation. But until then, I'm excited about having this time to be full of my own energy. Now, what's interesting though, I was telling a guy this weekend, one of my friends who's a comedian, we were talking about dating, and I said, what most men don't realize, that by the time a woman stops dealing with you, or by the time a woman decides not to deal with anybody else, she has already accepted so much, because we want it to work out. 2, we want the companionship. 3, we want to be with you. We don't want to fail again. We don't want to be single again necessarily. Right. And so what most men don't realize, that by the time a woman is actually done with you, like by the time she's done, you got to really step back and look at how many, and even though you kind of said that you quick to leave, you can look back now and realize you was never quick enough, right? Because we'll say, man, we just kind of leave at the first sign of trouble, but realistically, when we go back and look, it wasn't the first sign when we left.
No, we give chance after chance after chance. I think another thing that men don't realize is when we say we're done with dating for any period of time, that's what it is. There's no other guy hiding in the corner. There's no other, when we can actually not date men.
1,000%. And feel better.
It sounds crazy, because I know men are like, oh, it's always going to be somebody, else, blah, blah, blah. No, we can actually go cold turkey. actually can.
And only because that is when we start reattaching to our peace and our sanity. So it really is a better deal. I think a lot of times men don't realize how much value comes from their companionship with a woman. The upside is there for them, you know, whether it's our nurturing way, our supportive nature. And again, I'm not speaking for all men or all women because everybody is on the scale. But I'm saying, you know, when we are dating somebody, we want to spend time with them. We want to make plans with them. We want to travel with them. We're not looking to secure somebody to be arguing and fighting and have confusion with. We're like, let's just have a good time, right? And so when we try to date people and a good time is not offered back in exchange, it's like, okay, I don't want to do this. Like, this isn't fun. This isn't interesting. I don't like this. And so
we can't just coexist without there being issues. And we're not talking about, oh, fly me to France on Friday. We're not talking about that. We're just talking about coexisting and being in the same space and spending time with each other.
And let me say, for the record, we understand that when you're dating somebody, you're going to have disagreements. You're going to have challenges. We're not even talking about that. We're talking about we're not even in a relationship and we can't even get on the same page to hang out. We're not even in a relationship and we can't even make the effort. When I say we, I mean he. We can't even make the effort to spend time together. We can't even make the effort to have plans on the book to say, hey, I'm busy this week, but let's plan to do this next Thursday. Knowing the next Thursday life might be different too, but just nothing. Like we're not even in a relationship. When you're going to get in a relationship, you're going to have conversations about scheduling. You're going to have conversations about travel. You're going to have conversations and disagreements. But guess what? That's a relationship. You're talking, you're working through, you're understanding, you're learning, you're compromising. But if you at hello having to go through that,
there's nothing to hold on to stick around for.
What is we doing? We at hello and can't even make it happen. I feel like that's been the situation with especially my dating last year. I never was in such a full-blown relationship with somebody that our arguments were about us or what we believed differently or how we felt differently about things. It was always about spending time and being accessible. And it was always that person not being accessible to me. And in hindsight, and actually probably in real time, which is why I stopped dating them. But in hindsight, sincerely, anybody who knows me knows I ain't never trying to be around nobody all the time. I don't even like to tell people if I'm gonna be in a city because I don't want them to think that mean they got to see me. It's just information. You know, it's one of those things where if I feel like you are not accessible to me, that's actually saying a whole heck of a lot. Because I managed to date somebody and be in love who had a whole family on the West Coast.
Right.
And I didn't realize it or know it. It didn't affect me until the family emailed me. You know what I'm saying? Because you could actually have a whole family on me and I wouldn't know. So that's why when I get to the point where this person don't make no kind of effort to hang out or spend time, or they're mad that I asked when we might spend some time because I have a schedule that I'm trying to work out. I'll never do that again. I will never have an argument with somebody about trying to hang out. Like,
I'm not doing that again. And if I have to go back to doing that, I just won't be dating.
And you've done that. You've done that before. You feel that you had to have the arguments to hang out.
Yeah. So I'm not. No, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
And we've done it, and we keep doing it.
We do it because every instance we try not to pull our PTSD from the past situation because every instance is different. Everybody's lifestyle is different. Everybody has different responsibilities. Anybody we meet that's new, they have a different task, life tasks that they have to complete, on a daily basis. So we use that often as an excuse. And so to excuse them for a time period, because we don't want to be like the person that said, hey, you don't ever want to spend time with me. I don't want to talk to you anymore. We're trying to get to know people, right? But I found, especially in the current situation with the guy I'm dating now, who, he probably has the busiest schedule of anybody I've dated, in the past couple of years. And so, but he was never told me he's busy. We've always tried to work out a schedule where not even a schedule, we're just gonna see each other. It's not
you're not wondering.
That's never been an argument for us about, him not being available.
Right.
If
And
anything,
you've
it's been
never
me not doing
wondered. He's never given you an opportunity to wonder why he isn't seeing you.
Right.
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 Because then if a guy never,
and I'm not saying it's not a challenging thing because of his schedule, because we have faced challenges because of his schedule, but that has not been the main issue, you know, in us growing to know each other.
But that's what I'm saying. I think you're going to always, as two adult people who have your own lives, scheduling is always going to be an issue. But the issue should not be, this person don't even want to see me. Right. This person ain't even making an effort to see me.
Right.
This person ain't offering an idea.
Right.
This
person is just solely texting me or not, you know,
that's
not
different.
Calling. Like I can go 2-3 weeks and not hear, like not have your phone ring, or, you know, and I can call you and you won't answer. Oh, I'm so-and-so.
That's different.
I'm so-and-so. That's a problem.
That's a real problem. The last guy I dated, he would not call me. And I never called him. So at first my mindset is, well, I'm tripping over him not ever calling me, but I guess I don't call him either. Right. And then after like about a month of my boyfriend not calling me, he would text here and there, but he's supposed to be my boyfriend. And when I called him, he wouldn't answer the phone or call back. And then a few days went by and I called again, which is also very unlike me. Mm-hmm. He wouldn't answer the phone or call back. At some point, that's a non-negotiable because one, you're not curious about what I need. You're not concerned about if I'm in trouble or have a problem. There's no interest in anything I might have to say. I mean, like it's so many levels of a problem of a person who is supposed to be dating you, who doesn't call you, doesn't answer when you call, does not call you back, does not try to call you back, and just tells you why they're not calling you back. I have another girlfriend who, you know, was dating someone and this guy disappeared. And now every so often he'll send a text and say he owes an explanation and won't call. And then might text a few days, but won't call. It's like, look, I'm not even looking for you. All my exes at some point reach out to say something. I'm done at that point because like I said, in real time, we know it doesn't make sense. But once you stop trying and you get away from it, you look back and you're like, how many times have I said on this podcast, I have wanted to build a time machine so I can go back and kick my own ass about something I did to where today I'm like, I would never. And I literally just did. Yeah. So when we take these breaks, it's because our peace is being challenged. And at this point, a lot of women are saying, you know what? I'd rather go for a walk. I'd rather go shopping with my girls. I'd rather go on a trip with my friends. I'd rather go spend time with people that I know love me. I'd rather go where I'm celebrated versus trying to hang on desperately to be tolerated. And I think the more women that understand there's power in that, the more women are going to be kind of taking these hiatus.
Yeah. I think the hiatuses would end. Is that a word, hiatuses?
I wasn't sure. That's why I just said taking these hiatus. And I wasn't sure if I should say, is this?
It might be. It might. You
Not
might
sure.
be absolutely right. I have no idea. So forgive me, y'all. But I think these breaks would end if we were having great experiences dating. Like, so again, back to my current situation, this has been a good experience overall. And we've had bumps and stuff like that, but it's not been anything where it's like, you know, and I think if something were to happen with this situation where we decided to go our separate ways, I would be okay with trying again with someone, you know what I mean? Like trying that dating experience again, as opposed to people in the past where it's just been just not good from the beginning to the end. And we never had these pleasant moments. Like now that I see what I know I like, you know, and that's, you know, you learn that as you're dating anyway, you know, the more people you date and all that kind of stuff, you kind of get an idea. But now that I see that it can be better, it does provide me with hope. Not a lot of hope, but it provides me with hope that I could find that again, as opposed to.
Look, yes and no, because you have already told me if this don't work out, you're done.
I know. But I was
like, yeah, I heard what you just said.
I was sitting here thinking that I feel like I wouldn't be as done as I would if this was a different situation. Like, I don't know. It's just something about experiencing what you like in relationships. And you're like, okay, you know, Like I won't say it, but yeah.
You're having a good time dating right now, a better time than you generally have. And so the thought of dating is not horrible to you right now because you're having
right
a
now,
positive
even though I'm
experience.
aware of the situation in dating as, anyway, like I'm aware what my friends go through. I'm aware what I've gone through, but I
think in any situation, because I've had several situations that I've said I was never going to do something again.
Mm-hmm.
And then time passed and I did that thing. One example is when my dog died, I will never get another dog again. Right. I got two now, so in the moment of a trauma or a pain or a hurt, it's 100% normal that you be like, hey, I'm good on this. At some point, I missed having a dog and I knew I would never have that dog again, but I wanted the experience of having a dog. So I think that's what you're definitely saying, more so that I know you will sit down for a while if you were back on these streets again, but that would be from a different place, not from dating. It would be from the disappointment or heartache from a breakup, more so than I'm not going to date again because it sucks. And I think it's the same thing when people have been married and they get divorced or for whatever reason they're single again. And they'll say, yeah, I love marriage. I love being married. Sometimes that sounds crazy because you're like, but you got divorced, but you got, and they're like, but I love what it was. It might not have been with the right person or circumstances or situations, but I loved actually being married.
Yeah.
So you've gotten to where you can enjoy dating because you're enjoying the person you're dating.
And I say that, I'm saying like if we decided to mutually like part ways, like if something happened where he presented himself a certain way and then he wasn't that way, then I would be in the same, like, heck no, like I'm not doing this. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, dang, you fooled me for real this time. Like I would be, but if it was something where we just decided this wasn't going to work, then that's,
Now, this is interesting for our listeners, whether you're new here or you've been here from the beginning. I want to make a note about my friend's language. Y'all see how she getting soft. She said, if we mutually agree, meaning I don't think either one of them going to let the other one break up with them. It would have to be a joint decision. Did y'all notice how she said, if we decided together to be apart? Because you ain't about to break up with me. I can tell you that right now. And you know that he ain't going to allow you to break up with him. That's a difference in language based on how y'all interaction and vibing, that for y'all to break up, it would have to be both of y'all's decision. Where in the past, we were kind of probably being happened to. The dude just stopped calling. The dude just, you didn't really have a lot of say in how your interactions with the person move forward. So even in your language, I'm hearing in how you're communicating even a potential dissolvement of the relationship. And you're saying, if we mutually decided to break up, how y'all catch it? I listen and I pay attention to change and growth. You see what I'm saying? Change and growth. Because even in my last relationship, I thought we were on the same page from day one. My last relationship, full disclosure, and I may have said it on a previous podcast. The first time I ever spoke to this man, I was like, this is my husband right here. Oh, this is my husband. Because in the very first conversation, we had not even met. We connected on a social, a dating app, and we lived in 2 different states. But from our conversations, he was like, I'm intentional. I'm not trying to do this, and this is what I want. Let's go. Let's see. And I'm like, that's all I need is somebody to say what he's trying to do. Let's do it. I'm going to be on the same page as you. Well, none of his actions backed up that conversation. I shouldn't say that. His early actions backed it up. And then it fell off pretty immediately. Right. And so even though he still was saying the same thing, nothing he did went towards that thought. So for me, and what a lot of women do, you're conflicted between someone saying this thing that you want or realizing that is not the actual experience.
And it's even worse when they start off a certain way. They back up what they say. Yeah. So they are capable.
And they have a concept. Right.
And then they stop. And you're like, well, what the heck happened?
Right. And so then that's where the anxiety comes in, or the confusion, or the wonderment, or wait, he posted this picture with him and a woman on Twitter. Is this something? This is around the time when he stopped, and you got to do all this detective work and math just because somebody is not doing what they said they wanted to do. And that's the thing that I'm saying, the difference of right now, I'm not looking for someone to lie to me about nothing. I think, for whatever reason, part of my hiatus is because I'm tired of putting men in positions to lie to me. And it's not because I think all men are liars, but I think men want what they say to one, impress you, attract you, interest you. Some on the base level manipulate you in some way, but I think most of them wouldn't like for that thing they're saying to be true. They may not have the skills, the tools, the experience, the energy, the time to make it true. But I think a lot of times what they're saying, they want it to be true. But we all know most of the times it is literally a lie. So I can tell you, I've gone on dates with men in the last year and they talk about the one that was like, yeah, because, I'm looking for a wife. My brain now processes that as literally not. Mm-hmm. You literally are not looking for a wife. Now, a younger me or less of me would be like, "Ooh, girl, he said he's looking for a wife, so I'm in it." So now when all the behavior is negative and bad and I'm anxious and tired and crying and how come we're not seeing each other and you disappointed me and leaving me here, the old me or a younger version of me or a younger woman or less experienced woman will hold on to what he said. But he said this. I had a conversation with another young single, and I was telling, she was talking about she's just not realizing how men will marry whoever is nearest to them when they're ready to get married. Women, we tend to look for the one, men look for the time. And I told her, and you remember this, last year I was on a date with a guy I was dating. I was dating this guy, and I was on a date with him, and he was talking about he knew he would be married within 2 years. And I said, wow, you're so... I'm thinking we're dating. You're so sure. As for half a second, it was like, okay, he got plans for you, girl. And he said, it's not so much about the person, but the timing.
Oh, he wasn't talking about you.
Literally not at all. Literally not talking about me. It is when he is ready, whoever is there. Now, I am on a date. I am dating. I am on a date with this man, and he says this, and I'm eating. I never forget I was eating, and I thought, and let me get another one. I just had a great time. Because I realized he ain't talking about me. Now, the reason why I had this conversation with a young single, she says, but how do you then not try to just hold on to him then for when the time comes? I said, because I know it ain't me that he wants. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's an easy thing to detach from a person. Like when he told me he was going to be married within 2 years, I said, oh, you already got a person picked out? So either I'm the person you picked out, or it's a fiance I don't know about that you probably should mention today. Right. And the answer was, it's not so much about a person as it is the timing. Mm-hmm. And I knew, girl, he don't care nothing about if you sit here in 2 years or not. Whoever is around him, when he decides he's ready, that will be the bride. No, my thought did not go into hold on for 2 years. My thought went to, no, I'm gonna have to be with somebody who actually want to be with me. And that was the end of that. But it's a lot of women. A man will date you for 10 years while he's still looking for the love of his life. Mm-hmm. Child, spend that time at home by yourself. I promise you will always get your return on investment, because when you are by yourself, it is amazing. They say what an idle mind is a devil workshop. It's one of those things that, you're going to have moments where you're thinking too hard, overthinking, reprocessing, rewriting history. But hopefully when you do take that time, you're putting in information that's feeding your soul. You're seeing how you haven't taken care of yourself as well as you should have. That's usually the first thing people do is start eating right, start working out. For whatever reason, we just don't do that naturally, Right. And so when you do have that time at home, it's that thing where you're like, I'm gonna clean up my closet. And now you realize I can't fit none of these clothes in here. Why can't I fit my whole closet? Let me do this work on me. And it's not to be more attractive to a man. It's not to lose weight to try to get a man. It's because hopefully this body is going to last you for another 50, 60 years and you want to feel good in it. It's not even the vanity of it. That was my real inspiration a few weeks ago to really start taking my health more seriously. Is I had a job where I was working, but all I had to do was kind of stand. It wasn't physical manual labor. And I was in so much pain just from standing. And I was like, okay, I got to get to where my body doesn't hurt just because it's standing there. And if I prayerfully have another 45 years, what I'm going to do? But that's one of those things that in my peace, I'm thinking about. I'm not thinking about, oh, well, where is he? Is he going to call? Well, wait, he says he's going to call by lunch. All the things that I tend to be distracted by, gone. Mm-hmm. And I'm not personally not looking forward to having those distractions back. But again, that's a unit's job of figuring out how to make when I'm dating less of a distraction from my actual life.
Right. Right.
And even in
There's a
peaceful
balancing act
companionship.
too, based on the person you're talking to as well, though, because if you're talking to someone who doesn't produce that anxiety, you know, you're gonna already have that your own anxiety. But if they don't do anything to contribute to it, it would be a better situation for you.
Well, yes, I agree with part of that statement. I don't generally have anxiety unless I'm dating, because I'm generally
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
So if I'm dating somebody, that's where the anxiety gets introduced to me.
Well, that's
your situation.
That's what I'm saying.
You don't have the anxiety that you've had in other dating situations,
right?
But not because of anything other than the person you're dating doesn't give it to you. Some people just have anxiety on their own.
No, I know. I'm talking about in the dating scene. Like sometimes men will will create that anxiety for you that wouldn't normally be there if they would just do and say the things that they.
Yeah. And you know what? 100%. Yeah. But I know a lot of people who just have anxiety, and then when they get in a dating situation, it's heightened. And I was thinking about the girl on Love is Blind and Danielle and Nick. And when in the reunion, which, you know, we can probably do a whole episode on Love is Blind, but in the reunion, or even I saw her post something online that her situations were being exacerbated, but she already had those issues before she met Nick, and she referred to those issues she had before she met Nick. But like she said in the reunion, because they were in this experiment and are we not, it heightened the issues she already had. To where if that wasn't the context of how they met and are they going to get married and all this, she might not have appeared as off the rails as she appeared on that show. Because now everything, she's double and triple thinking everything. I'm not an anxious person. I'm pretty laid back in general. So when I'm introduced to anxiety by dating, it's really confusing to me, because I'm like, I don't even be tripping. So why do I always feel like I'm tripping now? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, is it me? Am I the drama? You know what I'm like? Because I'm literally not the drama by myself. Well, I'm not that kind of drama by myself. But in seeing you date someone who doesn't give you the anxiety, I have, as your friend, found you to make up stuff. I was trying to figure out how to say it, y'all, so she didn't hear me. But truthfully, you can say we have both dated people in the time that we've been friends, and in the time we've been doing this podcast, that these are just situations that we're trying to react to. And in this current dating situation, sometimes when you share a frustration or a concern, not saying it's not real, but on a good portion of it, you're able to calm yourself down, because it is something you may have created. It's not what he gave you, it's not what he offered. Right. It might be based on something he said, but that still is attached to something else you already had before he said that. Right. Yeah. And that's where that PTSD and the triggering, where, you know, by the time a dude says, man, you so dramatic. I don't know if a dude's ever said that to me, but I'm a dramatic person. I would probably take offense to a man saying that versus how you tell me I'm dramatic. Like how you be like, you really are stupid. I'm like, I know, I can't help it. If a dude were to say that to me, good, dramatic, excuse me. How dare you? So, but that's also getting to know a person and realizing their intent. Some people are speaking to tear you down. Some people are speaking to make you insecure. You know, you think about dudes you've dated in the past that, looking back, they wanted you to think they might have been dating somebody else for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? It's like, correct, brother, a brother to the night. You have got to know I have better stuff to do with my time than to be somewhere worried about who you aggravating at the moment. You know, but anyway, I think hiatus are great. Have you say it? And I think it's healthy. I think it's always good to kind of do that reset. I believe if I could ever be convinced to date again, and I'm speaking from a place of now, y'all know I'm a date again, you know, but right now it would take a lot of convincing to do it again, because I'm enjoying myself not doing it. And I so didn't enjoy myself the last few times I tried it. So that's the difference between us. Like you said, you would take a break just based on a disappointment, but you can see how dating can be great. Yeah. I haven't had the dating can be great experience, so I'm good on that. But I feel like how I feel today, and again, we can play this tape back in a year and I'm totally different, and I'm okay. I'm open to that. But way I feel today is there is so much upside to me being in my right mind. Like, I'm so much more creative. I'm so much more, I sleep better. I pay more attention to things I need to pay attention. You know, I'm just a better version of myself to myself when I am not going through mental gymnastics for a man. And I just have been enjoying it and really want to protect it. I've mentioned in an earlier episode this season about having a friend. I have a peaceful companion. That's what I call them. Instead of an emotional support animal, I have a peaceful companion. And by that, it's a person I hang out with. We have a great time. We're not in a relationship. We're not dating. So it's helping me to understand that a lot of times peaceful companionship is challenged by the constructs of what a lot of us bring into dating, and this expectation of communication and this expectation of accessibility. A lot of that is then what makes the peaceful companionship go away. So I'm learning that now in having peaceful companionship. Why can't relationships be that for me? And then realizing how much of all this other stuff that relationships that I'm going to be in a relationship. I'm not going to be in a situationship with anybody else. We got to be in a relationship. And then it's like, this is not peaceful companionship. Yeah. There's a lot of people that are married. They don't have a peaceful companion. It's a lot of people that have been in long-term relationships. It's not a peaceful companionship. I just saw a high profile divorce be announced recently. I won't say their names. But in reading the comments about this beautiful high profile relationship, all parties are beautiful and successful. The Instagram is popping, boat trips every other weekend, vacations, matching outfits with the kids. When the woman posted that she decided to divorce, a lot of the comments were about all these things that people supposedly knew about the whole time, right? And then it makes me think, wow, you were on these yachts and boats and beautiful babies and dressing alike. How much of this time was not peaceful for you? Mm-hmm. And now you have to go through the dissolution of a marriage and the breakdown of a marriage and that relationship, and now learning how to co-parent, let alone that it's going to be public, let alone other people's ideas and suggestions and comments. How much of that was peaceful? Mm-hmm. And I won't ever regret having this time to myself of peace. I won't ever look back and say, man, I shouldn't have took that year off. I can look back at last year and say, woo, that year sucked with those dudes. But whatever you decide to do, let it be authentic to you. I have a friend that I know listens to the podcast, and she's had breaks before and she wants to be on a break again. And I've argued with her about it. Hey, you got to get out there if you want to do it. But at the same time, that's a very personal decision, very personal journey outside of my opinions. But you have to feel good about doing it, and I think that goes a lot into it. That you have to feel good about doing it, but sometimes we don't know how to feel good about doing it, or because we haven't had a good experience. Actually, what I told her, this is what I told her, and I'm probably needs to put this on a shirt or something. She's not interested in dating because of her previous experience. And I told her, but your previous experience, I said, it's like you don't want to ride in a car because your previous experience, you were hanging on to the hood and you got hurt. Mm-hmm. That's not the same as riding in a car. I can see why when you see a car, you think, no, I don't want to get in. But if you got in and put on your seatbelt and close the door and adhere to all the safety guidelines, it'd be a different kind of ride versus hanging on to a hood of a spinning vehicle out of control. Those are two different things. And that's what we're learning. T-shirt. All of it. I'm going to use the sleeves too. Maybe have a collar. Why you hating? Yo, and this is why I tell y'all, you can't listen to what everybody say. Oh God. She told me never to say that too. So that's law. She told me not to say that too. I'm a grown, independent person. I will do as I please. Anyway. The point is, what they say, just because you have a nightmare, you don't stop dreaming. And so when you look at your hiatus, let it be for you. Let it not be reactionary, which we obviously can't help, but let it be more about you. I don't want to get to the place where I think all men are horrible. I do think most of the men that are available are trash. Now that, to be clear. But do I think there are good men in this world? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think you have found a great guy. I haven't met him yet, but I like him. That's all that matters. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess that you like him too. Okay. But the point is, I believe there are some great men out there. I think there's some good men out there. I think a good portion of the greatest of them have already found their partners and they're living a great life with their partners. I just think it's not a lot of those great men available because they wouldn't necessarily be available necessarily if they were the type guy that would be a great partner. And I think most of the men that are not in partnerships probably are not great partners for whatever reason. And I think on the men's side now, let me say that on the men's side, on the women's side, a lot of us are not great partners because we've never had a chance to participate in partnership. So it becomes chicken or the egg, right? So a lot of us women who have never been married, never been in a long-term relationship, we may or may not be a great partner because we ain't got a lot of reps. We haven't had a lot of practice. And a lot of the men have been partners and haven't been great partners. And so now they've decided, I don't want to be in a partnership anymore because I'm not a great partner. And now we're out here bumping heads and frustrating each other. Mm-hmm. That's just what it is.
That's it. That's what it is.
That's it. That's the episode, y'all. That's it. So if you need to take a break, take a break. Go sit down. Go lay down somewhere. But let it be a refueling, a repurposing, a re-energizing for yourself for whatever you do next. It doesn't mean to then go back out there and be depleted. It just means to just have a good time, have a great ride, you know, feel good, look good, be healthy, be a good person, put some beauty into the world and keep it moving. That's it. Is that really asking too much? Is that asking too much?
Life is way too short for anything else. It's way too short.
That part. Okay. The great philosopher Chris Rock once said, you know, people say life is short. He said, but it's long as hell when you're making bad decisions. Boy, that thing go on film. Okay.
Drag out.
Right. So we are of the perception that life is short because we're having a good time. Mm-hmm. And always don't take that for granted, because if you do feel life is short, that means you're probably on the upside. You know, you want more of this. If you're on the downside, you probably dread it.
Because think about when you're having a good time at a party and you don't want it to end.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. But when you're having a bad time, you're like, Lord Jesus.
I only been here 15 minutes.
Is it not 8 o'clock yet?
I wondered if the valet moved my car from the front yet. I could probably pitch my car in the front.
Life, yeah. So enjoy it.
Enjoy it and make it what you make it. And it's about what you put into your mind. And that's one of these things when you listen to the podcast, we hope that when you finish listening to an episode, you feel better about whatever. You know, we never wanted this to be a male bashing or a negative podcast. We always talk about our own self-discovery and growth and experiences. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's annoying, but ultimately all we can do is talk about it. The point of the podcast is to take the power back from the pain. And so watch what you feed yourself. You know, I have to catch myself on when I'm scrolling and all these negative things about women or dating or whatever, you know, and I have to catch myself because that starts feeding my energy. And either I want to reply or respond, or I'm feeling a certain kind of way, or, you know, and that's not what it's there for. So hopefully we're part of the positivity. I've done things like I got a new subscription to Essence magazine. I see beautiful images of beautiful women doing their thing. That's feeding me, you know, being around successful friends and having great relationships with people who are working really hard on themselves. That feeds me. So if you really feel negative and bad, and that's why the break, look at what you're consuming, you know, it all matters. You might need to detox, like I'm currently trying to pretend like I'm doing. I need to Google detox a little bit more, because when people say, oh, you need to detox, what does that mean?
There's so many options out there for you, but
right. What does that mean? What does it even mean?
Drink some more water and
drink a lot more water, which we all need to do. So y'all hydrate, mind your own business. That's it. All right. Until next time, kids. Oh, no, he didn't.
Girl, yes, he did.